My name's Kasim, I'm 21, and I know that I'll be a billionaire in the next 10 years, inshallah. And it's taken me 4 years of being an entrepreneur to get to this point where I feel like I have full clarity and confidence in my plan that I have to get there. And it's a plan that I don't feel like anyone else has come up with that makes the idea of becoming a billionaire not just an unrealistic dream, but instead more of a straightforward roadmap that anyone can follow. So I wanted to break down the entire plan, how I'm going to do each step and how long each step should take. And for this video to be the first episode of me documenting the entire journey of me getting there. So if you feel like you want to become a billionaire as well, or even just really successful as an entrepreneur, then you can literally just copy me and do exactly what it is that I'm doing at the same time. And in 10 years time, inshallah, we'll both be billionaires. Now first, let's clarify what I actually mean by a billionaire. So the first option is someone that owns a company that's worth over $1 billion. This is of course what they call a unicorn company. Or the other option is someone that has an ownership in multiple companies where the value of their shares are worth over $1 billion. Now, I'm aiming to have both, but the main thing that I'm aiming for by the time I turn 30 is to have $1 billion in liquid cash that I can pull out at any time from either my companies or investments. So one of the biggest questions you need to ask, and obviously you maybe ask me, why do I actually want to become a billionaire? And that's one of the most important things about this whole idea. If you don't have a deep why and a proper reason for why, you won't really have the drive to get there. So for me, after the last 4 years or so of my experience of being an entrepreneur, I luckily have been blessed. I feel like almost as God has spoken to me in the last year or so and told me, and I've realized what my mission and purpose is in life. Almost it came to me just one day when I was living in Bali, and I wrote it all down. The overall mission and purpose that I have in my life is to create a paradigm shift or a fundamental change of belief in the world where everyone realizes and fulfills their true purpose and plan written for them by God. I believe that everyone has a plan written for them by God before they were born, and they have a true purpose in life. And that true purpose is always to serve God through serving God's creation, through serving humanity in the way that everyone's been chosen to. So how am I going to do that? What's the way that I'm going to be able to do that? Well, of course, the most important thing is to first myself be the example, be the best example that I can be of someone that realized his purpose and his mission and his plan written for him by God, and actually gone on to fulfill that purpose and fulfill that mission, create that mission to a reality. And also as well, I'm going to be documenting the entire journey of me doing that with like the most transparency physically possible. Obviously, this is why I'm doing this video, for example, through YouTube. And the goal is by the time I turn 30 to become the first ever billionaire that's ever existed, where you can go back and watch the entire journey of how he did everything that he did since the beginning. So this video is almost like I said, the beginning of that. Like I want to be the first ever billionaire that has documented everything, not just so you can see that he did everything, but more so you can see in extreme detail how he did everything that he did. And also obviously something that doesn't exist yet. If you think about billionaires, it's a far-fetched idea, it's a far-fetched dream where you're like, he just got lucky. He just started this one company that became a $1 billion company. And becoming a billionaire, why I need to do it as part of my mission is because that I feel like for me is in society, if you're a billionaire, people take you seriously. And I feel like if I do that and I show that I've done that and really document everything and people can see that, for example, let's say, in 10 years, a 15-year-old can watch my videos from the start and see that this guy, he became a billionaire and I know exactly how he did it, so I can do it as well. And that will ignite their kind of drive inside of them to then go on to realize their main purpose and their mission in life. And also the long-term mission that I have with this as well is to create a new generation of entrepreneurs and leaders in the world that are fulfilling their purpose as well. And they will further this mission and this paradigm shift, this fundamental change of belief in the world for generations to come. So I don't want it to end with just me. I want to genuinely change the world and how the world perceives their lives by creating a new generation of leaders that think the same way as I'm talking about right here, and go on to their sons and their sons and their families. They all go on to fulfill their purpose, and part of that purpose, hopefully as well, will be to further this paradigm shift for the rest of time. Now, what are the 4 industries that I will enter that will make me a billionaire? Now, I've put this in order as well. So first off, the first industry is going to be e-commerce. This is, of course, just selling products online. Second is going to be e-learning and educational technology. This is obviously just education through online or through technology. Third one is blockchain and Web3. This is the next evolution of the internet and also finance as well. And the last one is technology and artificial intelligence. This is, of course, is utilizing the tech or technology of artificial intelligence. Now let's go on to the $1 billion plan. This is the exact roadmap that I'm going to follow to get there. I honestly strongly recommend you follow too if you want to become a billionaire or even just really successful. Now, phase one for me is to break into the e-commerce industry. Now, why have I chosen this industry to break into, especially first? Now, first off, e-commerce is the future of commerce. It's the future of selling and buying things in the world. And that means that it will only keep growing. It's not going to end, in terms of slow down or stop growing at all. And that's obviously a very important thing for me to not be in an industry that's dying out. For example, like, real estate or insurance or something like that from the past. I want to be in industries that only are going to keep growing as the decade goes on. And it's obviously going to keep evolving as well, which means that, as an entrepreneur, there's going to be pretty much never-ending opportunities and never-ending money to be made in this industry. It's going to keep getting more and more abundant. And the second thing is that I actually genuinely find the idea of building, brands, e-commerce brands that genuinely sell a product that benefits and changes people's lives really exciting for me. And the way that they are grown, through marketing and social media, through building a community of followers, through content, I feel like for me is one of the most exciting and enjoyable parts of business and things to do in business. And the impact that you'd be making with a brand is genuinely tangible. You can see people using your product and you can see them changing their lives. So that for me is a quite enjoyable thing that I would like to do. The last one is it's an industry where I feel confident as my first industry that I'm entering, obviously without I didn't go to university, so I don't have a degree. I don't have a background in tech, and I feel like in e-commerce is one or an industry for me compared to, for example, going into AI first or technology first. I'm confident that I can actually innovate and be extremely successful in this industry, even as a complete beginner. And I think it's the same for pretty much everybody. Even if you have no background in e-commerce whatsoever or tech or anything, this is an industry where you can enter and genuinely be successful and innovate and be unique, even if you have no idea what you're doing to begin with. Now, let's go through the roadmap that I'm going to take. That is, like, again, I'm going to say you can follow this step by step. Like, we're both beginners at this point, like you can follow this the same way I'm doing it as well. So the first step that I'm going to take is to build and scale a business called a growth partner agency. Now, this is a service-based business that partners or works with e-commerce brands and helps them grow. Now, to define exactly what growth partner agency is, because you're not really be able to see this from anybody else or hear this anywhere else online. So a growth partner agency, to break down each word by word, because each word has a very significant meaning. Growth means you are solving the problem of growth for the companies you're working with, and your service, I guess, is growing companies through the most in-demand method of growth in that chosen industry. Partner means that you partner with companies in the world's biggest industries. Of course, I'm choosing e-commerce as the industry that I'm working with on a long-term basis, and you get paid a monthly retainer plus a revenue share. Now, in reality, that will look like anywhere from 5 to 10K per month as a base retainer, and you also get to charge 5 to 15% of the revenue that you generate for them as well. So you get a revenue share too. And when it comes to agency, that means that you have a team fulfilling your service delivery for you. So you're building a specialized team, not just you as a glorified freelancer or like a glorified employee. And you also have multiple offerings that you sell to companies or potential clients. Now, this is, my opinion, the best business that any beginner can start to actually break into a massive industry like e-commerce. And I recommend for all of you as well, if you have the same vision, then you follow the same path and do the same as me. Now, the vision for me is that within 8 to 12 months of growing and building this growth partner agency, I'll be at the first milestone in the journey. Now, the first milestone is to be partnered with 10 brands, all paying me around 5 to 10K per month. And also as well, 5 to 15% of revenue share too. So one client can pay me anywhere from, for example, after the rev share and I get results for them, maybe like 10 to maybe even 30K after I get some good results for them. Now, to break down this milestone a bit deeper, the first part of it is to have a monthly recurring revenue of 50 to 100K per month with a 70 to 80% profit margin. So the most important part of that is just to be myself making at least 50 to 100K per month in pure profit. The second thing is to actually have myself the expertise and experience that I need to build an e-commerce brand rapidly. So I know exactly what I'm doing in the e-commerce niche or the e-commerce industry to then be able to build my own brand really fast and make it a success. And the third thing is to build a specialized and experienced team that I can use that as my team to actually then go on to build other brands and scale them really rapidly. And then the reason that's why that's important is because that's when I move on to the next step, which is to build and scale my own e-commerce brands myself, not as clients, but just my own e-commerce brand. Now, in my current vision, I feel like the two brands that I will start to begin with, the first one will be a brand that sells supplements that benefit people's lives. And the second one will be a brand that sells performance-driven apparel, that's performance-driven clothes. Now, my vision is that within 12 to 14 months of me starting these brands and building these brands, obviously because I've got the experience and expertise and also the team as well from the agency that I've built, I can then go on to move on to milestone 2, which is to have built my brands to a 7 to 8 figure, which means $1 million to $10 million yearly revenue, and for these brands to be respected as, you know, some of the market leaders in the niche that they're in. So to break down milestone 2, I want my yearly income to be at least $2 to $3 million from my growth partner agency, as well as my e-commerce brands. Second thing is I want to have the experience of scaling my own brands and also have built a name for myself in the industry. People know that I've done this. And third thing as well is I also, of course, as well as my team, have the track record, almost like the case study of scaling over a dozen market leading brands, including my own brands, plus also the clients that we've worked with and partnered with. Now, this is important because that goes on to step 3, which is to build a growth equity investment firm. Now, this is pretty much a company or a firm that raises outside investment and to take pretty much ownership in and to take a stake in, where they invest into other brands to rapidly scale e-commerce brands with the goal of eventually to sell them. Now, why am I starting a growth equity firm? The first reason is that I know, and you will come to realize if you're an entrepreneur, that generational wealth is only really built by having ownership in tens or maybe even hundreds of other companies, not just one company that you're trying to just make an income from. Second is that I can accelerate my wealth massively by moving into the kind of phase of entrepreneurship where instead of trying to like scale up my revenue, scale up my income, I'm instead selling companies for $1 billion and having a share of that sale. So like it's not always linked to me and the work that I'm doing, but the companies that I'm invested into can grow, and eventually I'll be a part of selling that company and then have a share of that sale. So, and also as well, a really important part of this step is that I'm going to level up from online business, the online business world, and move into like building a real business, like a real company that'll have a physical office, I'll have real investors, and I'll have the potential to generate millions of dollars, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. And also as well, this will be the company that actually goes on to make me a billionaire. So then that goes on to milestone 3, which is I'm hoping to hit within 2 to 3 years of starting this growth equity firm. And that milestone is to have a total of around 100 to maybe over $200 million of assets under management. And what that means is pretty much $100 to $200 million of money that we manage for investors, obviously including my own money too. With the projected profits of the companies that I've invested in to be anywhere from $500 million to over $1 billion from the selling of companies that we're partnered with. And to break down this milestone, I want my yearly income to be anywhere from at least $10 to $15 million at a minimum from my growth equity firm. Obviously, the profits from the growth equity firm come from the management fees that we charge from the investors, and also as well, of course, the dividends and profits from the companies that we invest into, and also as well, of course, the profits from the sales that we make from obviously the brands that we partnered with. And also, I want my net worth at this point to be anywhere from 150 to 250 million from the worth of my own brands and also the worth of the companies and the stakes that I have in brands and the companies that I've invested into. And the third thing is I want to have dominated the e-commerce niche and have stakes in the fastest growing and most well-known brands in the world. Now, where will I be after this phase is done? I could very easily become a billionaire just from this phase alone, but I'm trying to mitigate the risk of not becoming a billionaire by relying on one industry. So the main goals that I have for this phase is first off to be worth at least 150 to $250 million at a minimum. And also as well, this growth equity firm or this investment firm will be my main business. So if somebody came to me and asked me at the end of this phase or in this phase, bro, what's your main business? How do you make your money? I'll be telling them that the main business I have is my growth equity firm. And also one thing that I also want to do is to have my outside capital or my investors to come from the Arab world, the Arab investors. So for example, that means Saudi, the UAE, which is where Dubai is, or Qatar, or all the other Arab countries. And the idea for me is that, and I have this idea because I've actually been to Saudi now. I've lived in Dubai. I moved to Dubai when I was 18. And I've lived there, I've experienced it. I love the Arab culture. I'm not Arab myself. My family's from Pakistan and I'm from Scotland. But people think that I'm Arab already. And I actually love the culture and I feel like I want to live there in the future. So for me, I want to be the plug, the connector, the intermediary between Arab money, which is obviously unlimited, and Western business. So I want my growth equity firm to almost be a kind of a vehicle that Arab investors can invest into. And then, I put that money into companies and obviously grow it for them. So that's like a vision for me to have, and that's obviously what I want to do with my growth equity firm. And the third thing is to be one of the most well-known and respected entrepreneurs in the e-commerce industry that has ownership in some of the most fastest-growing brands in the world. So now let's move on to phase two. And also as well, just to give you some context, of course, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 17. So I've actually already completed milestone one and step one of phase one. And I managed to scale my growth partner agency up from 0 to over 50K per month in around the first 6 months of starting. So actually a lot faster than I initially planned. And also as well, when it comes to moving from phase to phase, because I have to get this whole vision done within around 10 years, I need to kind of move quick. So I'm actually going to be moving on to phase two at this current stage of the journey where I'm at right now, completing milestone one, just so I can get them all done at the same time and kind of quick. So obviously it's going to be a lot of work, but that's kind of like, to get it all done in 10 years, by the time I'm 30, I have to do it a lot of work and do it very quickly. And also as well, if you do want to access this Figma board and go through this whole flow chart, the whole kind of vision that I have as well, for some inspiration for yourself, and also as well, if you want to access the free course I put together in the last few months, where pretty much after I scaled my agency to 50K per month, I broke down exactly how I did it, each step that I took, all the whole process that I went through to do it, and I built a free course pretty much. So if you want to access both this doc that I'm going through right now and this flow chart, as well as the free course, then go ahead, and the first thing in the description, what that will be a link to my free community. Inside of there, you'll have access to everything completely for free, no payments whatsoever. I just built this to give back to people and to have a place where you can access all the stuff that I've built. So phase two is to break into the e-learning and online education industry. Now, why do I actually want to be in this industry? So first thing is that building a company where I can give people everything they need. The information, a roadmap, the personal guidance from me, a community of like-minded people. This is pretty much exactly what I need to actually fulfill my mission of creating the next generation of leaders and people that are fulfilling their purpose in the world, and obviously, of course, just being successful. And because it's my mission and part of my purpose to give back and to build things to help people, I genuinely do feel the most fulfillment I feel. I think I can feel, to be honest, when I help people realize and fulfill their true potential and just overall help them become the best version of themselves, grow, and just be successful, especially with their business. And of course as well, I've been in the online world for around 4 years now. So I've seen all of the courses and gurus and e-learning companies and info products that have been released in the last 4 or 5 years. And I've luckily never even bought one. But I know that a lot of people buy them and they feel scammed because they're extremely low quality. So with my education company, I really want to change that. I want to change the dynamic in the way that people see education companies by raising the bar of what people can expect when they pay for information or pay for help in a business sense or in a mindset sense. So that's kind of what I want to do. I want to make sure that my education company is of the highest physical possible quality, and then onwards from there, a lot of these kind of scammers and gurus will kind of just go out of business because people expect better after seeing what I've done. So obviously the first step to break into this industry, which is what I'm doing right now, is to build and grow my personal brand by doing a few things. So obviously first is to break down how I've built my business and be successful with my business, which is what I've been doing. You can take a look at my YouTube channel inside my free course in the free community where I break down how I've done it in extreme detail, all the details and all the technical details. Also break down how I've changed my life, mindset, spirituality, and also an important part of that is videos like this where I'm documenting the journey and showing you my plans and how I'm going to be doing everything that I'm doing. And I'm mainly going to be doing this through YouTube, Instagram, and also X or Twitter. Now, why am I building a personal brand? Like, why is it such an important part of the vision? And why I recommend it to all of you as well. So the first thing is that it's one of the most valuable long-term assets to have, as an entrepreneur that benefits every aspect of your life, both business and socially. And it makes doing business a lot easier when you kind of own your own audience and also you have a lot of trust built up and a track record over a long time. People can go back and watch you and you have that social proof. And it's the best and easiest way for me to fulfill my purpose and my mission by giving value, by giving knowledge, by sharing inspiration for free. Like obviously through my YouTube channel like this, it's completely for free. It can reach hundreds of millions of people, unlimited amount of people, and can change lives, which can go on to create an everlasting change without people needing to pay anything whatsoever. And that's obviously why it's so important to me. And also as well, when it comes to my education company, I really don't want to have a salesy dynamic or like a guru dynamic with my potential customers. So I really want them to feel like they have already received life-changing value from my free content, from my free community. And then from there, if they feel like they want to become a customer and learn from me directly, and access the kind of roadmap that I built out and all the kind of tools that I've given them and stuff that I've done for them to make it easier for them, then they can become a customer effortlessly, not through ads or through sales processes and through sales calls, just very effortlessly. So my vision is that within around 6 to 12 months, I'll be at the first milestone with this phase. So that is to have my YouTube channel at around 100 to 250k subscribers, with the target and kind of like on the track to be at 5 to 10 million subscribers in the next for kind of 4 to 5 years after completing this milestone. And second is to kind of have impacted, inspired, and changed thousands of lives through the advice and the knowledge that I've shared in my free content, my free community, and all stuff that I'll be doing. And number three is to, kind of more personal, is like to be one of the most well-known and respected and loved young entrepreneurs in the world. Just because I'm not trying to sell people on anything, I'm just going to give advice and share my journey and document the entire journey. And then from there, step two is to go on to build and scale my online education company to serve and change the lives of at least 3,000 people, 3,000 entrepreneurs. And also as well, with this education company, I'm going to be giving 10% of all money generated to charitable projects that the community of customers that we have alongside me, we choose together. So obviously, what is the education company? What is it going to be? So first off, it's kind of overall like three products, I guess you could say, or three offers. So the first one is my free community, what I just told you about before. It's a community and ecosystem where I give all the information away for free. Like all the information you could want to know about what it is and how to get started, it's there for free. On how to build a growth planner agency and become the best version of yourself when it comes to your mindset, spirituality. Then it goes on to the kind of paid stuff, which is first is the winner circle. This is kind of like everything that I wish I had when I first started out. So I built it to be my group mentorship ecosystem and program where people can have access to the exact roadmap that I built. Obviously, after having scaled my own agency myself and having done it for quite a few other guys that I've mentored personally, with all the information, a very tight-knit community of like-minded entrepreneurs building their own growth planner agencies, and also, of course, access to me through calls and through messaging to build a successful growth planner agency and transform their life within around a year or so. And then the last one is called the Growth Planner Agency Blueprint. This is going to be a comprehensive mentorship program, like a much more one-on-one thing with me, where I personally help entrepreneurs build and scale their own growth planner agencies to at least 50 to 100k per month. This is more like a lot more technical, a lot more like me building the business with you, and like really getting into the nitty-gritty stuff. And obviously, the most important thing is to replicate my success. And for the guys that I teach, for them to progress down their own long-term vision. So obviously their agency, the Growth Planner Agency, is their first step. But a lot of the guys that I want to be able to teach, the guys that have the same kind of mindset as me, where they want to have a long-term vision, they want to do bigger things in the world, and they want to fulfill their purpose and their mission. So then from there, the milestone, the third one milestone to hit is it should be within around 1 year or so, and that milestone is to have my education company has transformed the lives of over 3,000 entrepreneurs. So when it comes to this milestone, the details is I want to have donated with my community, obviously it's from the revenue that we've generated from the education company, around $1 million to charitable projects all around the world that we've chosen. And also second is to have created over 3,000 successful entrepreneurs that are on the path of fulfilling their purpose in life. Of course, the first stepping stone of that is to kind of become the best versions of themselves and then build their first successful business, which will be a growth planner agency. And then step number 3 is to put an end to all the scamming, low quality courses or programs by raising the standard of information that is available to entrepreneurs. So I want my free content, which actually already is, in my opinion, my free content in terms of my YouTube channel, in terms of my free community, I want it to be better than the majority of people, what they pay for, 3, 4, 5k for when it comes to like buying programs or courses or mentorships. I want like my free stuff to be better than that. So the quality in terms of the standard is raised massively. So most of the kind of scammers go out of business. So where will I be after all this is done? So first thing is that, the main thing is that I've been massively progressed down the path of fulfilling my purpose and my mission of creating the next generation of leaders by bringing thousands of people that I personally helped closer to their true purpose in life, as well as creating the next generation of leaders in the world that will continue to impact obviously the world alongside me as well. So that's obviously a very important part of why I'm going to be personally teaching people to do what I've done and to kind of even go further than I'm going, is because I want to kind of have entrepreneurs and leaders alongside me to further this impact and further this paradigm shift in the world, because I feel like it's a very righteous purpose that we kind of all share. So then from there we move on to phase three. And like I said, in terms of the exact timeline, it can be while I'm doing this, it can be straight after, it doesn't really matter, to be honest to me. I'll try to get it done as soon as possible. So phase three is to break into the blockchain and Web3 industry. Now, why do I actually want to be in this industry? First off is that blockchain and Web3 is the future of the internet, meaning that it's an industry where you actually have an opportunity to build something that can grow into the size of companies like Amazon and Facebook, the same way that, for example, they did, Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg, they did that with Web 2. Web 2 is what we currently perceive as the internet. Web 3 will be the next evolution. So they did what they've done because they started it at the start of Web 2. So I want to kind of put myself in a position where I can do that in Web 3. So like I said, that's the main thing that I want to position myself to do, is to be able to build a multi-billion dollar startup in Web3. So it will be kind of the most exciting and innovative industry that I think will exist at the time, where you can actually build something, extremely unique. It hasn't been done before. You're not copying anybody else. You can kind of build something that hasn't ever been done before, the same way that Amazon or Facebook did when they first started out. And obviously that contributed to them becoming some of the biggest companies in the world. And the third thing is that this industry is going to be the evolution of software or SaaS companies. SaaS means software as a service. And right now, SaaS companies are kind of the main companies in the world that have the most insanely big multiples on their valuation. So what that means is that, for example, let's say you have a SaaS company making around $10 million per year. Your SaaS company can be sold for 10 to 20x that amount. And that is obviously unheard of with the majority of businesses that exist in the world. Usually they're sold for maybe like a 2 to 3x multiple. But with SaaS companies, you can sell them for a crazy, crazy multiple. So it means that you can kind of like start a company and then go on to sell it within 2 to 3 years, maybe 4 years. And you can actually sell it for a massive amount, even though you're not making that much, if that makes sense. So what are the steps that I'm going to take? Now, it's going to be kind of similar to e-commerce in the way that I'm going to approach this industry. So first off, what I'm going to do is build and scale a growth partner agency that partners with blockchain and Web3 projects to help them grow through social media, most likely. And obviously at that time, it's in a few years' time from now, I'm going to be doing this. So in terms of what I'm actually going to be doing exactly, it's going to depend on what needs to be done at that time and what's most in demand. So for example, let's say again, in around 6 to maybe 12 months of starting my growth partner agency in this industry, I want to be partnered with around 10 to 15 companies or projects in this industry. And to break down that milestone, it's a very similar one to, of course, e-commerce. Obviously, minus the money at this point, of course, I'll be, very, very rich. But the main thing for me is to myself get the expertise and experience that I would need to build and scale a blockchain or Web3 company rapidly. And number two is to, of course, build my specialized team that has experience to, of course, again, help me build and scale blockchain or Web3 companies really quickly. So then from there, I'll then go on to build and scale my own blockchain or Web3 project, or maybe even partner in one. Obviously, I don't have much technical background, so I most likely will need to partner with a technical guy. And for example, what this could be a platform, an app, a tool for either maybe, for example, a tool for businesses, or for example, more likely for consumers, which is the average person, to utilize Web3 and the blockchain a lot easier. So what is this step in a bit more detail? Like this step is where I really move into the tech startup world, if that makes sense, where I build a startup that I raise investment for, I get backing for, that can go on to one day, hopefully within a few years, become a unicorn company that I can exit within around 3 to 5 years of starting it. That is the goal with this company. And this is obviously what I'm going to be doing here is kind of like spotting an opportunity whenever the market it's the right time for me to start a company like this, and in terms of like the Web3 and the blockchain industries kind of matured and become more mainstream. And this could be my ticket to making tens of billions of dollars, honestly. I have no idea what it could be. And like I said, exactly what this company will be based on when the industry is mature enough and I can spot an opportunity, I can spot a problem that can be solved, or I can spot a platform that I can build for either businesses or consumers. Now, obviously, within around maybe 2 to 3 years of building this company, I should be at milestone 2, which is to make the startup that I founded, whatever it is that I have founded, a massive success. And also, I raised massive investment for it and got massive backing for it. So milestone 2, to break it down, is to successfully launch this startup, raise investment, get backing for it, and for it to be like a real, like people are thinking that this is going to become a massive company quite soon. And also the main thing is to be on track to reach a valuation of at least $5 to $10 billion with this startup at a minimum. It could be a lot bigger than that, and look to sell this company within around 3 to 5 years. And if you're wondering why, like if you look at most of the big successful entrepreneurs right now in tech and kind of the software space, which is most of the ones you probably know. A lot of them got started, and the reason as to why they're rich is because they kind of started their first tech company or their first software company and eventually sold it within around 3 to 5 to 10 years. And that is why they had their first big, almost like paycheck, why they became a billionaire. So this is kind of like my goal with that too, is to kind of have that big, massive paycheck at the end of 3 to 5 years and sell the company for billions of dollars. And then I move on to the next step, which is to then begin investing into and taking ownership in blockchain and Web3 companies with my growth equity firm. And also as well, I'll be moving on to not just growth equity, but also venture capital and also private equity as well. So there is a difference between growth equity, venture capital, and also private equity. The difference is mainly based on where the company is at. Like venture capital is more investing into ideas, private equity is more investing into take control over a company. And growth equity is kind of in the middle, where you're kind of investing into companies that are already somewhat successful and taking like a minority stake to help them grow, if that makes sense. Now, from there, in around 3 to 4 years of doing this, I'm starting to invest into blockchain Web3 companies as well. So at this point, my investment firm will not just be growth equity, it will be kind of combination of all types of investments in terms of growth equity, venture capital, and also private equity. And I'll be in both industries, both e-commerce and blockchain Web3 or also software in the one company. So my milestone to hit after around 36 to 48 months of starting to do this will be to have a total of $3 to $5 billion of assets under management. Of course, what that means is money that we manage for investors, with our projected profits in terms of the companies that we're going to sell and what we hope to sell them for will be around $10 to $20 billion after the space of 2 to 3, 4 years. So to break down this milestone, I want my personal income yearly to be, $150 to $200 million in terms of what I'm pulling out myself out of companies that I own, from my growth equity firm and from the other companies that I will own. Second is to my net worth to be anywhere from around $5 to $10 billion at this point, from the worth of my companies that I own as well as the companies that I'm invested into. And third is to have massively innovated the blockchain and Web3 industry, and to almost be like the guy that people know. Like, this guy created a massive startup in the blockchain Web3 industry, and he's built he's going to do big things. And I want it to be like an internationally known, like worldwide adopted kind of platform or tool or whatever it will be at the time. So where will I be after all this is done? So the first thing is that after this phase, I think that 100% I'll be a multi-billionaire. That's the goal for this phase. And also my investment firm, I hope, will be one of the leaders in the e-commerce and blockchain/Web3 industries. And third is I'll be on track to grow my wealth to tens of billions of dollars through my 30s and 40s and 50s. Now, phase 4 is, of course, to break into the artificial intelligence industry. Now, with this, it's going to be a quite similar process, just without building an agency to begin with. So the idea is that at this point, I'll already be a billionaire. I'll already know exactly what I'm doing, and I'll have the opportunity to then spot, how I can build a company with AI. It could be a hardware company, could be a software company. Nobody will know. I can't really know what it will be. But the idea is to kind of do the same process in terms of building a startup, raising investment for it, making it massively successful. And then this can go on to, the milestone is that I put here is to my investment firm. When we start investing then into AI companies as well as building my own startup, will be one of the leading kind of investment firms in our industries and kind of like the new tech industries, with at least 10 to 15 billion dollars under management in terms of what we manage. And also the second thing is that the foundations are set in terms of the companies that I own, the companies that I'm building, the companies that I'm invested into, to have a net worth of 25 to 50 billion over the next maybe two to three decades after starting this process. I kind of move on to this milestone. Now also as well, one of the most important things that I'm going to be doing throughout this whole vision, which isn't really a business in a sense, but it's a very, very important part of this vision for me, and one of the most important parts, honestly, is to build my foundation in charity. Now, I've had the vision for this for quite some time now, and obviously I'll talk more about it in other videos. But this foundation, I wanted to innovate the way that the average person kind of perceives and views giving to charity, especially to less fortunate children all around the world, to give them opportunities and to change their lives. And this I'd be starting pretty much as soon as possible, hopefully even this year, the year that I'm making this video, alongside the companies that I'm planning to build. And to give you an overview of what I'd want to do with this foundation, like initially anyway, is where we'd fund and build self-sustaining communities in third world countries. For example, build mosques, build schools, give opportunities to kids, and give support aid in any kind of current crises that are going on. And also, like I said, this foundation or charity will be my main focus as the years go on, as I progress in life. And I truly feel like everyone that becomes ultra rich, their main focus has to be giving back. Otherwise, they'll just end up being depressed, no matter how rich they are. Now, some other moves that I'll be making in the background as I'm doing this. I'm going to be mainly based in Saudi, Dubai, and Qatar, like the Arab world. as I see like myself the Arab world being the future, especially of business. And I'll be raising most of my investments and my finance and my capital from there, and also building my network there and building and growing my startups there alongside this vision too. So I'll be building more companies than the ones that I showed in this vision, but I don't know what they will be, so there's no point in me talking about them. So you'll see as the time goes on, what I end up doing. But I want to do a lot of it, not all of it, but a lot of it in the Arab world. And I'm also going to be investing 70% of everything that I make for my companies, especially even just from now. I'm actually doing this right now from the beginning into crypto. And this will be a massive kind of catalyst and reason as to why I'm going to rapidly accelerate the growth of my wealth and become really successful and rich, I guess, and create generational wealth so quickly. And the last thing is that starting from now, my personal brand will always be a massive priority. And I want to eventually be the most followed, most well-known, most respected entrepreneur in the world, really. I truly believe that I can get there. And the first billionaire especially that has documented his entire journey and shared everything with like extreme transparency, how he did everything that he's done from the beginning, which is obviously why I'm making this video and why from now onwards I'm going to be documenting everything from extreme detail. And to start that, except from making this video, I'm actually going to be building a brand new growth partner agency from scratch. I'm pretty much going to be starting this whole vision again from scratch, just to show you guys and document it in extreme detail. So I'm going to be building a new growth partner agency as if I was a beginner and taking it to at least 50k per month, like the same I put in that first milestone. I'm going to be taking it there in 2025, the year that I'm making this video. And yeah, you guys can watch that and see exactly how I'm doing it so you can do it yourselves. And then from there, everything else that I do, my personal brand, my education company, my e-commerce brands, my growth equity firm, everything that I do for the next 10 years, I'm going to be kind of documenting it and kind of having like a series where I show exactly how I'm building it, what I'm doing, me being successful, maybe me failing some things. So you can see exactly how I'm doing everything that I'm doing and just go on to copy it yourself. Because I truly believe that there is no reasons to why you shouldn't or why you can't copy me and do this exact same. I'm nothing special. I'm pretty much in the same position that you're in. So there's no reasons to why you can't do the same thing that I'm doing. And honestly, like I said, I actually want people to copy me. I want people to be on this path with me so that in 10 years time or so, we can all be, if not billionaires, just extremely successful together and really fulfilling our purpose in this world and in this life. So guys, I hope you enjoyed me going over my plan to become a billionaire. I hope it inspires you. Like I said, if you do want access to this document and you want to go through it yourself and you just want to have more of a connection with me as well, to talk to me and kind of start this journey yourself, then go ahead and click the first link in the description, join my free community, and in there you can talk to me, send me a message. And for example, I may even have the opportunity open to book a one-on-one Zoom call with me to ask me any questions you have, especially when it comes to building your own growth partner agency and getting started with this journey. So guys, much love. Make sure you subscribe and follow along for the journey. It's going to be cool. Hopefully in 10 years time, I'll be watching this video back as a billionaire and everybody else can do the same too. And yeah, we'll make God proud.